Stellar Lumens, one of the older cryptocurrencies often thought to be an inferior version of XRP, or a lesser known version of XRP, that was also discussed in Ukraine at one point. Now it's getting smart contracts. Let's see how that changes things for the token and if there's any potential for it in the next bull run. Thank you for coming back to the Sovereign Ratio. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and leave me a comment below. So first off, what is Stellar Lumens? It's a peer-to-peer decentralized network that was created in 2014 and went live in 2015. But essentially the goal of it, in very simple terms, is to create safe and fast transactions from the conversion of whatever currency into XLM and then across to wherever it needs to go to the recipient. It is very fast. I've used it before myself. It's like XRP. It's very quick, and it just happens to also be the first cryptocurrency that I invested in. Hence the reason for making this video, because I'm personally also curious to see how it's evolved. Because it has kind of fallen out of the limelight quite a bit, especially with XRP, the case being settled. You don't really hear about Stellar much anymore, but I saw the news today that it's developed smart contracts. The asset was once thought of in Ukraine for payment solutions, just because of how quick the cross-border transactions can be, especially between countries that may not necessarily have a lot of contact with each other. As it says here, the target audience for Stellar is the inhabitants of developing countries, ordinary users who are provided access to the global economy through fast, simple, and inexpensive transactions. Before we get to the news, let's take a look at the chart real quick. I'm going to go all the way back and start at the flu dump here, back in March of 2020. We can see that Stellar was at a valuation of approximately 2.5 cents back then at the bottom of that, and actually went on to rally in the bull market all the way up to around 80 cents or a 30% gain. So basically Stellar did a 30x in the last bull run, which is definitely not bad. It's definitely not as good as others like, say, Cardano that had 125x. And nobody's going to get the bottom perfectly, nobody's going to get the top perfectly, but the potential for a 30x is good, even if you only got half of it and say maybe got a 15x out of it. In my opinion, the biggest obstacles for Stellar are, one, it's an old technology, and technology grows exponentially in cryptocurrency, and two, most people don't even know what it is, and the ones that did know what it is have kind of forgotten about it. Long-term analysis on this token is really pretty simple. It's all predicated off of whether it's viable in the next bull run or not, and people see value in it. You know, looking at the previous bull run, it was pretty obvious to see where the top was going to be because there was a very big bearish divergence here on the weekly chart. But for potential for the next bull run, let's look at it right now. It's currently sitting at 10.3 cents. All the way back up to all-time highs is roughly a 688% or around a 7x. If we were to do kind of the typical thing that we do on this channel, running a Fibonacci from swing high to swing low, on this particular run anyway, assuming that this was the bottom down here at 7 cents, the 1618 is sitting at $1.25. The 2618 is sitting at $1.98, which it always ends up being very interesting how that 2618 is just at a big even number. Those big even numbers are very critical. So I would say in best case scenario, if Stellar did go on a massive run for whatever reason, $2 is probably top of the tops for me, even though in a massive bull run where there's trillions of dollars coming in, you could always see more than that. For me, a safe bet's here at the $2 mark, so maximum potential on this one for me is about an 18x. I just don't see any more than that, especially with how much more well-known XRP is, and XRP may even be a better technology for all I know. Now, as far as a shorter-term time frame, like here on the daily chart, you'd be hard-pressed to find something that looks worse than this, to be honest with you. You know, we have price that's below the Gaussian channel, we have price that's below the bull market support band, we have RSI headed back towards the bearish control zone, which it was just in the bearish control zone. And then we have this interesting little line of resistance here. We can kind of craft a little bit. It's probably not that candle that we want. It's probably more something like that, because that does get a lot of those points. That's probably what we're looking at, which is a descending triangle. And I would say the bottom of that triangle is right here, or maybe just a little bit lower than that, maybe right here. But this is kind of the general shape I'm looking at, and that is not a bullish shape. Every time it goes, it's a lower high and a lower high, and then once it gets here and breaks here, that's going to be a significant drop in my opinion for Stellar Lumens if it breaks this line. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but right now this chart does look very bearish in the short term. We have the Ultimate Stock RSI. It does have two drives of bullish divergence here on it, but it is also starting to curve down a little bit, which has me a little concerned. As the ETH to BTC pair continues to fall, I can only imagine that when this falls, it could go quite a bit further, which would make the potential gain in the next bull market higher if the token's still viable. Let's just go back to the weekly chart here with those drawings still intact and look for a target on that. Generally what I like to do is look for some sort of like area where there's a lot of activity. Like back here in this last bear market, there's a lot of activity in the like 6-cent area. So maybe Stellar comes down to the 6-cent area, or maybe if it even goes further than that, it could come down here to its previous low in the, in the 3-cent area. The key to watch though will be whenever Bitcoin dominance reaches its peak, will Stellar have broken this line? If Stellar has broken this line here around 7 cents, by the time Bitcoin dominance reaches its peak for this bear market, or this part of the cycle, if it goes below that, that could be a bad sign for Stellar for sure. But here we are under the headline. Stellar, early blockchain built for payments, adds smart contracts to take on Ethereum. The 9-year-old project, one of the earliest major blockchains, is getting a facelift to incorporate smart contracts, which theoretically could attract new applications and users, and potentially more demand for the XLM token. I would agree that in theory, it could increase the value of the XLM token or the demand of the XLM token, but to hear the news that something is getting smart contracts, I've heard that hundreds of times in the last couple of years. It seems like this chain's getting smart contracts, this chain's getting smart contracts, and all while these chains are getting smart contracts, other chains are developing new and even better forms of technology and consensus mechanisms. So because of the exponential rise in cryptocurrency technology, it's really hard to say that something that is now a 4-year-old technology as far as starting to be implemented into other chains. I see it as XLM is several years behind, just getting to this point. Not saying that it's not viable, not saying that it can't increase demand. I'm not even saying that it's not safe and quick and reliable and all of that. What I'm saying is based off of smart contracts alone, that's not enough to sell me on wanting to go buy some. Converting to smart contracts is a good idea for integration with Ethereum because Ethereum is by far the largest smart contract platform that we have. The problem is there's so many competitors already. Even though Stellar is an older technology, there are plenty of other competitors in that space like Arbitrum, Polygon, Optimism, and then other chains like Solana, Aptos, Sui, Algorand, and even Cosmos for that matter. Someone from Stellar is quoted to say, "We see decentralized finance as a big part of the future and we want to enable that for the users of Stellar." Actually, that was Tomer Weller, Vice President of Product at Stellar Development Foundation, who was overseeing Soroban, said in an interview. If the Soroban upgrade leads to a substantial uptake by users, ultimately resulting in an increase in activity on the Stellar network, there could be theoretically a fresh source of demand for the product's native XLM tokens. Last week, the Stellar Development Foundation inked a deal with Certora, a security platform, to support the new smart contracts platform. Let me know in the comments what you think about Stellar, if you like it, if you hate it, if you're indifferent, if you're curious. I do always like to see celebrity buy-in because I think that does give a sense of comfort to investors in some way. I'm not really sure that just because Idris Elba likes Stellar that I'm going to also like Stellar, because personally, it's kind of like buying a car, right? I don't want to buy a car off one of those websites that just delivers it to your house and you don't get to drive it. Like, I want to go try the car out before I buy the car. And you could say that about other things in life too, for sure. But Stellar, I want to see it work. I want to see a final product. You know, it's great to see an overview of what changes are being made, but I want to see, is it reliable? Is it fast? What is this offering the ecosystem? Things of that nature. But as stated, Idris Elba, in a conversation with the CEO of Stellar Org, explaining how blockchain can empower people to unlock potential. So it sounds like there is at least one celebrity endorsing Stellar at the moment. Last thing to note is the test network did go live on September 20th for the Soroban smart contracts upgrade. So if you're interested, I'm sure you could probably find a place to go and test out Stellar with smart contracts if you were so interested. In fact, I looked it up for you. That website is soroban.stellar.org, where you can get all the information you need if you are interested in testing the smart contract platform. So again, let me know what you think about Stellar Lumens in the comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed the TA on it or the news or whatever. Just leave me a comment. Thank you for coming by. Please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button on the way out. We will see you in the next video, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Please take a look at some of my other videos. like how to become a crypto millionaire in the next bull run, and also just individual videos on altcoins. Safe trading, and we'll see you in the next video.